And just real quickly, there was a study that came out of Israel about natural immunity, and basically the headline was that natural immunity provides a lot of protection, even better than the vaccines alone. I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response. The one thing the paper from Israel didn't tell you is whether or not, as high as the protection is with natural infection, what's the durability compared to the durability of a vaccine. So I think that is something that we need to sit down and discuss seriously, because you very appropriately pointed out it is an issue, and there could be an argument for saying what you said.
If you look at the level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and has a breakthrough infection, and compare that to the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person who's infected, they're essentially equivalent, which would go along and underscore the fact that vaccinated people who do have a breakthrough infection are clearly capable of transmitting the infection to an uninfected person.
The current vaccines are not infection blocking. They're not broad, so when new variants come up, you lose protection, and they have very short duration.
The whole paradigm has kind of failed to think that vaccination will reduce the spread of this illness as the primary method of control. It's failed as a public health method of control. And CDC actually admitted to this and agreed to this. August 11th of last year, they put out a statement saying the two-dose vaccine has a negligible benefit for controlling spread of SARS-CoV-2, and that boosters provide transient benefit that wanes. Now, for me as a public health person, transient means useless, because we need sustained benefit. We need stable, something that lasts for 6 months, a year, to be able to have something to use for control. Something that lasts for 2 months is not enough, because then every 2 months you have to repeat with something new. How is that useful? You know, especially if there's potential hazards from the treatment that you're applying, the vaccine that you're applying. You can't do that level of risk benefit every 2 months. And so it's not a sustained measure that works for public health. So they said at that point that the vaccines have failed as a measure of public health. The only real government interest is controlling spread, so that people who don't want to be infected get protected from being infected. But since it doesn't work for that, then there's no more government interest in all this. There's no more mandate interest, you know, according to rational reasoning. And then the next month in September, the CDC also said that there's no difference in any of the ways that you manage vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. Testing, quarantine if they're infected or test positive, masking, any of those things, that vaccinated and unvaccinated people should not be treated with any differences. And that's crucial for the government to have admitted that is an official statement that all of this has failed.